Here we are back this week. We're talking about the most stacked UFC card this year happening. Also, we'll talk about Titan FC kicking off this weekend on UFC Fight Pass on Friday. Then, let's not forget, a couple of new rule and regulation changes. Let's get going.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Isle of Man in the UK. This is John and Mike's MMA Corner.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please do like, share, comment, whatever on the YouTube or SoundCloud version. Whatever you're linking to, please just click it, and we will appreciate every like we can get, every comment, interact with us. I will reply back. I'm more than happy to talk about fighting 24/7 because it's what I do. So please get involved, join in, and let's all communicate and be a community, folks. So like we said before, there's some rule regulations changes, Mike. Big John McCarthy did a presentation, so to speak. He had Jeremy Horn with him. He had Randy Couture. There was someone else there. I can't remember off the top of my head now. They went over some new regulations that they'd like to kind of implement or change. One rule was the knee to a grounded opponent, and more specifically was what they class as a grounded opponent. In the past, if I had both feet on the ground and I was stood upright, I am obviously not grounded. But as soon as I would have put a finger, I could literally do this. I could literally do this with my hand, and that would be classed. And if anyone's listening to this on the audio, fingertips were touching the ground. I could get away with it. I could have that as I'd be somehow classed a grounded opponent. A lot of fighters use that to manipulate the kind of rules and and everyone hated it. It was a shitty rule. No one liked it,
yeah.
So it got changed.
Yeah, it was basically any other part of the body other than the soles of your feet.
So now, if you have,
now it is two hands. It's two palms or two fists down on the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think is, well, we've spoke about this before, and we've said how it's a stupid rule because, yes, you have to have some sort of thing in there because, so if somebody does get dropped, you don't want them then getting a knee.
Well, you have to have a definition. You need a definition so people know what is what.
Yeah.
And
it was being used. It was getting abused.
Yeah. And it was an old rule. It was like a lot of these rules from when it first started, the sport's grown, evolved, and everyone's starting to realize that, yeah, we put that rule in then, but it doesn't quite suit now. Another rule that came in was the women's uniform. They're not allowed loose clothing. A lot of women.
Yeah, none of that baggy stuff. Some of it does conflict with the UFC uniform.
It was just catching, and they need skins like those.
So does that mean you're going to stop wearing those Reebok tops you bought?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop buying all that Reebok fighter kit that I bought that everyone else has as well.
Christ, that's going to empty your wardrobe.
Oh, it's just piling. It's all like a mountain. It's crazy. Yeah. I want to call my bank to put some payments into them.
I tell you what, the rule with the two hands down, I quite like that because that takes away that, how you'd sort of, they keep one palm down and the other one's up there guarding, to parry any shots, etc. Whereas now it's like you got those one hand down and you're trying to parry. Guess what's coming in? You got knees coming in galore or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of fighters will now. They won't do it though because now that rule.
No, it won't happen at all.
They'll probably just fall down or they'll just try to stand straight up. It won't be a case of it. No one probably try to dabble with messing around with that. It's too much of a risk. Let's see what one of the other rules was. Then not penalising anymore. There's no penalising of grabbing the clavicle, which is the collarbone. I'm not a skinny little 150 to grab it. But yeah, it's that bone, the collarbone or clavicle, whatever you want to call it. Everyone's, there's no penalising there. I like that because, especially with the Muay Thai, kind of, you can get a good collar tie in the elbow. You can get a good grip in there. I find it gets good dig inside. Also, the other rule I was in favour of that they've put in now because. Whereas before the referees, it was their own interpretation. It was this rule, okay, where you could do the John Jones and take someone's eye out. now they put it into place where if you're fighting, your hands are up, and you throw your hands out like this with your fingers. Again, if you listen to it on the audio, just imagine what I'm doing. Okay, so if you put the fingers out, you're not allowed to do this. Now, if you're going to put your hands out, no matter what you do, you have to have your fist clenched, at least so your fingers are facing inward towards you. It don't have to be a tightly clenched fist. It at least has to be inward. So then that way you're reducing any chance of an eye poke, which again keeps the fight going on longer. And the referees now have the great chance of being able to penalise, which I am so in favour of, because there's been too many times that fighters do it just to get a break sometimes.
Well, I was going to say, if you're still unsure what we're on about, just watch just about any John Jones fight.
Yeah, he pretty much likes to do eye pokes.
Yeah, he's probably the most guilty of doing that. But because it wasn't like an absolute rule.
Persistent, Mike. He's persistent. At least he keeps it up.
Well, to be honest, I've heard that he said he wasn't going to do it for the next 2 years.
Yeah, he's gonna snap it and stop it. Well, he has to. He's got 2 years now to get out and get in the habit of not having
to practice. Well, I've heard he'll have his hands fairly close for the next while. Anyway, anyway, yes,
that's a good rule to come in. Let's go now, Mike, to let's talk fights, because we've heard like a load of fights that have been announced recently. Anyway, never mind fights that are coming up. Like, look at this: Rafael dos Anjos and Tony Ferguson kicking off. That's gonna happen. Loving that matchup. That's got just
in November. Yeah. So it's in November. As soon as I read November, I thought New York.
It's tough. No. It links in with the. What I like about it is you've got Rafael dos Anjos, who is a killer in jiu-jitsu, but you've got the kind of higher level jiu-jitsu with Tony Ferguson, but it's so unorthodox and unpredictable. It makes it so beautiful. So I like the fact that you got those two there. You've also got what other good matches did I like seeing? After Jimmy Mano at OSP, Manchester is going to be happening. That's going to be a bit of fun. It's going to be good to see that. UFC 204, that'll be a good one to see, because OSP, I think he's that guy who he's probably going to, in my opinion, I think he probably will beat Jimmy Manoa. I think he's just too athletic and too mobile for Jimmy. I think Jimmy's a little bit too static, in my opinion. Jimmy likes to stay there, power, and that's it. But OSP's got a combination. He's got the wrestling, which is one problem for Jimmy.
Yeah. If he fails anywhere, it's when things tend to go to the ground, but
look, so like I said, Titan FC is back on UFC Fight Pass this Friday, and then the UFC is on a Saturday. So you're happy, if you're an MMA fan and you've got UFC Fight Pass, you're pretty much squared away for the weekend. If you want to watch some fights, you can't win. You're laughing, exactly. Now, Mike, let's go into this Titan FC card. It's got a handful of good fights. I've interviewed numerous people from the card. I've had them on. You can jump into our YouTube page or SoundCloud page, whatever, and listen. I'm actually going to get this up onto iTunes. I am in the middle of getting this done on iTunes. It's just I need to get some edit. I need to edit the profile picture for it. iTunes is a pain in the ass. But anyway, I'll get it up, folks, so you can go on iTunes as well. So, Mike, let's go to the Titan FC card. Let's have a look at some fights. Now, I don't know about yourself. If there's any fights that you like the look of, you're not allowed to pick the main event, though, Mike. You're not allowed to pick the main event.
Well, you don't have to go straight to the main event.
The main event has to be last. The main event is last. That's the last.
Okay. Well, immediate attention goes to Ron Stallings.
Yeah.
Yeah. No brainer. Gutsy guy, It's he stepped in against Uriah Hall. Am I right?
He did. Yeah.
Does memory serve me? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be interesting to see, if he pulls a couple of wins together at Titan. Does he end up going back to the UFC? I wouldn't be surprised.
He pretty much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to listen to the interview I did with Ron Stallings, it is on it's on our list of interviews basically, and we did speak about that, and Ron is not short of a return to the UFC. He was a bit harshly done by in the manner of speaking with the Joe Riggs fight where he even said himself, Joe Riggs quit in that bout. It was not it was a legal up kick, but it grazed his face. He just basically took the win, the technical win. Joe Riggs did, and look, Joe Riggs has pulled out of a fight with Sidney Wheeler on Valor Fights. It just shows all about Joe Riggs, who's just really, he's a guy who had so much potential and just never lived up to it. You've got Ron Stallings fighting Rashawn Spencer. Rashawn Spencer, very experienced fighter. I think he's 18-8 off the top of my head. You've got a guy who's very well averse in the fight game. It's going to be a good fight between the two guys. I'm looking forward to seeing how Ron performs now that he's out of that UFC bracket, so to speak, that he can maybe he'll relax a bit more when he goes back again, getting a few wins. He can relax when he gets back in there and be himself. Mike, any other fights for you that you like the look of?
Yeah, obviously Desmond Green. Former champion. Lost a couple. And it just seems it was almost like he was going to sort of get straight back up there, but I think he went on was it a 2-fight skid, was it?
He lost to Andre Harrison, but then what he did do was he went off to Russia, though, and he competed in Russia recently. Again, I interviewed Desmond Green. You can see the interview on our page. He went off to Russia, competed in Russia, won in that tournament, but the problem was the tournament it fell through. Again, listen to the interview, you'll find out why. A little teaser there. And he's back with Titan FC fighting again. I'm looking forward to seeing him back in. He's going up to 155 now rather than being at 155. That cut made probably a difference in his performance, and he's feeling great at 155. I look forward to seeing what he can do against James Freeman. That's going to be an interesting bout because James has got a great opportunity to beat Desmond Green, in the sense of big name, big scene, could cause an upset. It's a big step up for him. Any others, Mike, apart from the main event?
Yeah. One of my tips for future champions, brilliant amateur career, Josie Torres.
And who's he fighting?
I would dread to think, because so far, every opponent you've said has been different to what Sherdog's telling me.
Oh, you did a Sherdog thing, don't you? It's all right, bless you, Mike.
Yeah, so okay. I'm going to thank Sherdog for bewildering me at the moment, because you've been coming out with names, and I'm looking there and I'm thinking, yeah, that's not what I've got. so who's, enlighten me.
No,
enlighten
go on,
me.
say it out loud. Say it.
I would say it's Mr. Velasquez.
Sorry, say that again.
Mr. Velasquez, is it?
Yeah, Velasquez, yeah.
Velasquez or something, is it?
Abdil Velasquez is the fighting Josie Torres, yeah. And what is it about Josie Torres that you feel makes him a future champion?
Massive experience at the amateur level. Really proved himself at the amateur level. Stayed there. Went to the Worlds, won the Worlds.
Twice.
Yeah. I was going to say, stuck around and then did it the following year. So it wasn't like a fluke or whatever. It wasn't a flash in the pan. Signed with Titan, and so far has proved himself to be in good company, even though he's only had 2 fights at a pro level so far. So, yeah, it's. I think this is he's the first of the big future of how I see MMA. How amateur boxing has that world and that Olympic level, so that when they come into the pros, who these guys are. They've had 50 fights or whatever, and they've at high level, and then they're coming into the pro ranks, with a bit of experience behind them.
Mike, what about Velasquez?
Well, he's been around a bit at pro level. He only has a couple of losses on his card, and he's fought for Titan before. But it's I don't know. It's more a case of what do we see coming from Shorty again? It's I really want to get him to that. I really hope that he gets to that level where he's at title contention, and see how he deals with the top level guys.
Okay.
Like,
Mike. Well, right then. So Jose Torres, Abdiel Velasquez. Velasquez is young, just like Torres. Super young guys, super young prospects. The pair of them. Okay. Torres actually just celebrated his 25th birthday, and Velasquez again. He is young. He's had 8 fights in his career so far. He's done a lot. His last fight was against Alexis Villa on Titan FC, and tell you what, that was Alexis Villa is one of the kind of like pioneers in the low weight classes, and he was also an Olympic medalist in wrestling. And Velasquez looked absolutely phenomenal in that fight, and I mean phenomenal for a kid that young to go into a fight like that. He put on one hell of a performance. Jose Torres, again, his last fight on time was against a guy who had a veteran who had 30-odd fights, maybe 30, 25, 20 fights, went in, absolutely spent 3 rounds beating the crap out of him. But the thing is, Velasquez and Torres, 2 promising fighters. I was actually gutted about these 2 fighting each other. I was hoping they'd fight each other later on in the UFC ranks because I think they're still guys who are up and coming. But the thing is, Mike, you say that Jose Torres, you hope he gets title contention. This actually is for the interim flyweight title at Titan FC anyway. So this is actually his title fight.
no, sorry. You misunderstand me. I mean, like, that UFC side is if it goes all the way, like, because
Oh, right. Of course you did.
No. What I mean is you think, like, in theory, if everything goes well for him, he might just be in the UFC because, let's be honest, they're screaming for a few little guys.
Well, they're doing the Ultimate Fighter. They're doing the Ultimate Fighter for the flyweight. So, if I'm honest, probably maybe have a little
bring
bit
a few names.
He'll have a little bit of a weight because of all the names they're bringing in. Let's go. Well, Mike, they're doing the Ultimate Fighter. Probably got like those guys who are all champions in their respective organizations. They're probably good names to have into their promotion. And Jose Torres, way too young still. Bring him up through Titan. Same with Velasquez. Bring the pair.
No. I was saying, like, I'd like to see him on fight number 5 or 6 before they bring him in.
Another fight to look out for, ladies and gentlemen. They're doing a bantamweight tournament in this card. The problem is that your boy Bruce Luchmedal, his opponent, is pulled out. And I don't know if he's going to get someone to step in. I'm gutted for the man. You know, spoke to him, top guy. He's been training his ass off. I'm really interested to see if he can get someone to step in for him so he can have a shot in this. Because the bantamweight tournament, the 2 winners on that night fight for the title at the next event in September. So I'd love to, see this happen because Anderson Santos is fighting Andrew Whitney. Now, Anderson Santos, if you remember, people, beat Ricky Simone in the last card, but the thing is he missed weight, so he didn't get the bantamweight title because Brett Johns had surgery on his shoulder. He's looking to return later on in the year. Andrew Whitney beat Corey Tate, who made his debut, who's a British fighter who trained at Black Zillions. Again, looking forward to seeing how that fight goes down because Andrew Whitney is a really good wrestler, but Anderson DeSantis got really good kind of grappling side of things, the submission game. Let's go to the main event then, Mike. And you've got GS Cavalcante against Freddie Assunção. What are you looking forward to about this match?
Yeah. Good top level. A well-matched fight for a title fight. It's got Freddie, who's not lost forever. He lost early in his career, which, okay, you can practically scrub that, So of late, he's doing more than well. So, it's good to see him in a title fight. And Cavalcante, who we watched go out there and basically just smoke Pat Healy in the first, which was unexpected. But, so it's I look forward to it and see what happens. It's
especially the thing is we're going to take into account, Mike, is that Freddie Assunção hasn't fought for a bit because he had the surgery from the ALC injury in his last fight. When he won his last bout, and he had the ALC injury happen in the fight, he won his last bout, had time off, he's recovered, recouped, But what you got to take into account is that his two brothers, who in their own respects were on winning streaks, lost in the past month. Both brothers have lost recently. Now, Freddie, again, he's not lost for a long time. I think he's like on a 7 or 8 fight win streak off the top of my head. But is that going to maybe possibly have an effect on him in this fight? And the other factor, Mike, you need to take into account is Freddie's taking this fight at lightweight. Freddie's a 145er. He just wanted to fight. He spoke to Jeff and he spoke to, obviously, Lex. He spoke to the boys there. He said, look, I want to fight. And they said, look, this fight's here if you want it. He went, I'll take it. Again, I did the interview with Freddie online. If you want to listen to it, ladies and gentlemen, he talks a bit more about this. But yeah, he's fighting a lightweight. He'll probably go back down to 145. He's just gangster for it, you know, and he wants to fight. So I look forward to this.
Yeah, I was going to say props to him. Is as they say, there's no easy fights in Titan, but he's definitely not taking an easy one with this one.
No, he isn't. Let's go to the UFC Fight Night card. Like I said before, it's the most stacked card of the year.
Yeah, they thought 200 was going to be big.
Yeah, it's probably going to go down as the weakest card so far of the year. The year's not over yet, but it's at the moment it's down as the weakest card.
It's a favourite. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's quickly just go into this, Mike. Then, what kind of fights there for you? Once again, we're leaving the main event till last.
Okay, well,
go ahead.
Okay, I mentioned Cub Swanson. Now, I know you just said leave the main event till last. Cub Swanson is not main event, which is shocking.
He's headlining the Fight Pass prelim card. He's the head, which is it's not that shocking because what they're doing with the Fight Pass prelim cards, they're looking to try and
they're building it.
They're trying to get some big names. Well, it's not that building it. What that is, Fight Pass prelim, is these are the free fights that people get to see. And if you don't have Fight Pass, you can't watch the rest of it. So this is a way to sell it. They put some of the better fighters on who are better standard, better quality. So you're probably going to probability is you'll get a really good fight, entice people to go on, ooh, I'll buy Fight Pass now, and that's it. That's how you get people coaxed in. It's just good marketing. So yeah, so let's go on. Carrying about Cubs fight.
Yeah, so he went on a 2-fight skid. Okay, not good, but it wasn't like he was fighting nobodies. You know, he lost to Max Holloway and...
Come on, Mike. Think. I know who it is.
I know Frankie...
Frankie Edgar.
Frankie Edgar. Yeah, I mean, the Frankie Edgar fight, Christ. Well, to be honest, he really struggled in both fights. So... Yeah, I know he won his last, but it's we want to see, is Cub on a major slide, or was he just, bettered by guys on the night,
Well, to be fair, Cub Swanson was on a huge win streak prior to those 2 losses, which probably would have ended up getting him a title shot if he'd won one of the 2. And the other thing you need to take account is, even Cub said, that last win against Hakron Diaz, big decision win, needed that win, got it. Tell me about his opponent, Mike.
Well, I know I can't pronounce his name.
Really?
That helps.
Tatsuya Kawajiri. Kawajiri? Really? Oh, go on then.
Yeah, so, he's lost his last.
Right.
Yeah, it's... well, to be honest, he's had a couple of wins in his last 4, but, it's, to be honest, it's kind of what I think Cub needs, somebody that doesn't really go out, he hasn't stopped anyone in his last 4, and he's lost 2 of his last 4. So, it's quite even to Cub's last 4, if you know what I mean. So it makes sense, you know what I mean. You've got 2 guys that have lost 2 of their last 4, so.
Kawajiri is one of them ones. People that he is, again, he's Japanese pioneer in MMA, huge guy in that respect, and he's been there, he's done it, and he's now at that age. I think he's about 38, he's 39. He's pushing that, and in the 145 division, he's not no spring chicken. To be fair, the dude is in phenomenal shape. Okay, but it's one of them ones where he needs that fight to be on the ground for him to stand a better chance of winning. His submission game is one of the things that people, I respect him for. It's one of his strongest side of things. Cub Swanson, he wants to box. Cub likes to swing. And we saw with the Frankie fight where you can put the pressure on Cub and get him down. It can start to wear Cub down. Now, can Kawajiri do that? I don't. I do think he can. But it's that first round of if Kawajiri can get the takedowns and keep him down, and maybe that might keep Cub down, I think that could lead to Kawajiri getting a decision. But then again, if Cub can snuff it for the first round, I think Kawajiri might tire a bit, and then, Cub might be able to get dishearten him and get that win. It's a tough one for both guys here, really, because if one were to lose, like Kawajiri, he's not probably going to get a title shot, so I don't know what he's going to do with himself. For Cub Swanson, it's a real big setback again. Cub Swanson, I think, is 32 when I checked on him. So he's at that stage where every kind of win counts. Cub's still in the mix. I think it's a bigger fight for Cub Swanson than it is for Kawajiri, because Kawajiri's not going to get that title shot. He's way too far off the ranking, so to speak. But yeah, Mike, it's probably one of the better fights on the card. Any other fights, Mike, that you tickle off fancy?
Big fan of Zach Cummins, who's fighting Santiago Pons. Oh, Jesus.
Come on, Mike, come on. Santiago, come on.
Ponzinibbio.
Ponzinibbio. Oh, my God, you're messing up with your pronunciation now. Ponzinibbio.
Our pronunciations over the last couple of years must be absolutely terrible.
It's Santiago Ponzinibbio.
Yeah, okay.
It is. Straight up, it is.
Right, well, we'll take your word for that. Yeah, I have massive high hopes for Zach Cummins. I think he's pretty awesome and was doing fantastically well against... My mind's gone blank. Who was he doing well against in Dublin?
Gunnar Nelson?
Yes. Yeah. And just made one little error and Gunnar capitalised on it. But I actually thought he was winning the fight up until that point. He was he kind of the blueprint on Gunnar, but just, one little slip up and Gunnar capitalises on it. But has done nothing wrong since then. So, yeah, he's a big welterweight. It's I'm fortunate enough that I've met quite a few of the welterweights in the UFC, and he's amongst the biggest. He's huge. Santiago. Yeah, he had that good fight against Colt McGee in his last fight, but I just feel that Zach just has the more complete game. He has the heavy shots. He's got that wrestling to fall back on if he needs to. I think he'll be a good fight, and I think one of the better fights on the card. But I hold out for Zach.
Yeah, Ponzinibbio is one of those guys. He hits hard, because when he throws a strike, he's throwing to hurt. He is very much power based with his striking. One thing I think that he lacks is that really high depth in technical ability with his striking. He does go for those finishes. I do know I like that he goes finishes, but he's fighting a guy in Zach Cummins who's got a head like a coconut. Zach Cummins can take a crack and he just keeps coming. Zach as well, I don't believe he's ever been stopped in a fight. He's lost fights, but he's never been stopped. Zach Cummins, he is one of them guys, as in, Mike, I don't mean like submitted, I mean as in TKO.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, submission's not stopped. Submission's...
I would have to agree with you there, yeah.
He's not been, finished in a fight, as in someone smashed his face in. Zach Cummins, well, what you got to take into account, his performance against Dominic Steele was a new Zach Cummins. After his fight with Gunnar Nelson, had a little break, and then his fight after that, which is absolutely bewildering me right now. I can't remember his last fight, the name of his opponent. But
who's Zach?
Yeah,
it was Nicholas Dolby.
Nicholas Dolby. Zach Cummins is a different fighter.
Who was undefeated going into that fight.
Yeah, he was. Nicholas Dalby just could not get his head around the technique that Zach is doing. Zach obviously trains at Glory MMA with James Krause and those boys, but also he's been working with Tyron Woodley of late. Now, guess what? You're doing well, it rubs off, and I tell you something, he'll have a bit of momentum and a bit of a swagger about him, especially after the things that have been happening for Tyron Woodley lately, obviously winning the welterweight title. I think that will play a big factor in this fight. I'm not saying if he lost, it would have made a huge difference, but I think it actually gives him a higher stock going into the fight. Let's go on to any other fights, Mike, that they kind of stick out at you.
Not many more.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to quickly mention then.
Okay. A fight that I think has potential to be exciting, just because I think it could be fairly well matched, is Talis Latus against Chris Camozzi.
Okay, yeah, it is well matched. The pair of them are just veterans of the sport. It's one of them ones where they're not breaking the top 5, yet it's a fight where they both need to have a fight. They're just there. The pair of them, like Camozzi, to be fair, since he came into the UFC, lost to Jacare in a short notice fight. He's been solid since then. Won 3 in a row.
He's not really done anything wrong.
He's won 3 in a row. He's won 3 in a row. Talis Latus, when he came back to UFC, went an absolutely stonkingly good run. Lost a controversial decision loss to Michael Bisping, and then he lost to Gegard Mousasi, I believe, after that.
Again, against Mousasi, though, he wasn't even in that fight. He was totally outclassed.
No,
but the Bisping fight, he actually had an argument to have actually won that fight.
He won that fight. I'll keep saying it. But, again, I think the Chris Camozzi one, Chris Camozzi's got a bit confidence about it, especially with the 3-fight win streak. I think Talis Latus needs to go back to his bread and butter. He needs to get Camozzi down and use his jiu-jitsu, which is what his A game is. Because Camozzi's long, Camozzi likes to strike. I think Talis Latus can strike. Obviously, he's proven it. He's got knockout power. But I think for getting the win, just to get that win under his belt, get Camozzi down, try to get a submission, or at least get on top of him for the first round and just tire Camozzi out a bit so that the shots aren't as painful, the shots aren't going to hurt as much, and maybe try and grind out the win that way. That's probably the best bet for Talis Latus' game plan. Fights that I'm looking forward to. Yeah, go on. I'll say I'm looking forward to it. I'm just actually going to stick the charger in, otherwise this is going to go. Is the charger in? No, it's not. There we go. Let's stick it in now. Where's my charger? There we go. Okay. I'm going to quickly mention you've got changed to 2 ex-Titan FC fighters over on this card who signed recently. Chase Sherman is fighting Justin Ledette. Again, another debut for this guy. 2 heavyweights making their debuts. Chase Sherman came off the victory against Jack May, where Jack May injured his knee by throwing a kick, which Chase checked. Also, you've got Jason Novelli coming in against David Tamer. Now, David Tamer, Mike, you should remember who this guy is.
To be honest, when I was looking at it, I knew the name, but I couldn't just unwind it in my brain.
Mike, you watched him live at the Anderson Silva and Michael Bisping card in London. The fight stuck out to you. He fought David Martin's fencing and beat him with an uppercut and stopped him. And now Jason Novelli is going to fight this guy. And I think Jason Novelli, in my opinion, should beat this dude and outclass him. All right? Completely different. Jason Novelli is an absolutely stonkily experienced fighter. And he's got good movement and technique. Those 2 dudes, I like the fact that, look, you're seeing Titan FC guys going up to UFC. I think it's awesome, especially 2 of them on the card together. Other than them 2, like you say, Mike, it's not really
not screaming, is it?
No, there's 2 other fights quickly to mention. Miraz against Taylor. Taylor making a debut in the UFC. She was the king of the cage, the champ. And then Miraz, the girl who beat Calderwood is the best way to put it. She is a girl that people should not sleep on. She is an absolute monster. She is not far off that top echelon of getting that in there to mention her name in the mix for a title shot. And I think Joe Calderwood really, she's shouting it for it, but this girl is not far off. Like, she's not done much wrong in her career anyway.
She lost her next, though, after the Calderwood fight.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, it's not like if I recall, Joe Calderwood lost to her, so I'm thinking, well, why would I put Joe Coldwood above her? She lost to Valerie Letourneau as well. She lost to Valerie Letourneau, I believe, as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Decision,
So
decision loss, I think it was. So she didn't get stopped, but then she won her next fight after that, though. So she only lost once. So I can't really sit there and go, she doesn't deserve it. But anyway.
Yeah, but what I mean is like thinking back to the Coldwood fight, that night Coldwood was just there.
Doesn't matter, Mike. Doesn't matter.
Thin air.
Doesn't matter.
And
she won. She did what she had to do.
Yeah, you can only fight what's in front of you, so...
You got Dennis Bermudez against Honey Jason, Mike. Interesting fight, that is. I quite look forward to seeing how that fight turns out. And in the sense of, I hope Dennis Bermudez can come back and be the man who went on a 7-fight win streak in the 145 division. Fell short just to these top echelon guys again. I think it was Jeremy Stevens and Max Holloway, I think it was. Oh, no, not Max Holloway. Can't remember the other person now. It could have been Chad Mendes. I'm not sure who it was now. Dennis Bermudez lost to. But Honey Jason is a guy. I was
going to say, was it not... No, go on, carry on.
Honey Jason is a guy who's not won since 2014. He actually he's coming back from a suspension, a 9-month suspension, because he got popped for a diuretic that he took in his last bout, which he won by a triangle. I think he got submission. He got a bonus of the night, and obviously his win money, and then it all got taken away. So unlucky.
Yeah, Dennis Bermudez lost to Lamas. I thought it was Lamas, but I just wanted to make sure. Yeah.
The two just absolutely.
He lost to Lamas and then Jeremy Stevens.
Yeah, they went at it in the first round. Yeah, it was a bit of a crazy one, that. And it was in Mexico as well. But you've got Yari Rodriguez as the main event, Mike, against Alex Caceres. Now, Mike, you said you don't know why these two are as the main events.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let you know why, my friend.
Go on then, surprise.
Yari Rodriguez is one of those guys who gets people's attention. He is a guy that people watch because he is an exciting, kind of unpredictable fighter. He throws wild, crazy moves that you really shouldn't throw in a fight. Alex Caceres got this fight because of his last performance, short notice against Cole Miller, when he went in there and threw some wild stuff and absolutely took Cole Miller to the end of those 3 rounds and absolutely looked absolutely astounding. Like, I was literally amazed about that performance. Could not believe how well he fought. And that is why that main event is, because they're hoping that this Alex and this Yari can do what they do together, and it's just going to be a spinny, kicky, wild, punchy, wild main event. That is what the UFC are hoping on, that will get people's attention. And to be fair, if they do both do what they should do, it should be an absolutely wild fight, and it should be fun to watch. I probably do favour Yari Rodriguez, only because Alex Caceres is that guy who is that hot and cold. He is so hot and cold. But we'll see.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet after his third loss, he and to find that he's got main event, yeah, it's kind of unexpected. But, good luck to him. It's time to shine.
Well, he won his last fight against Cole Miller.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But what I mean is, like, he did go on that 3-fight skid. So
yeah.
Which wasn't all that long ago.
No, it wasn't. But that's why I'm saying he's actually won 2 in a row, hasn't he? Off the top of my head. Who's the other dude he beat? Some Mexican kid. Some Mexican kid that he beat. He's won 2 fights in a row. Some Mexican kid, and then he came in short notice against Cole Miller and beat him. I know that much.
Massio Fullen or something.
Fullen. Yeah, there you go. So he's on a 2-fight win streak. Like I said, I can really see this Alex fight. If he turns up like he did against Cole Miller, it's going to be a wild, crazy fight. So that's those cards. Titan FC and the UFC card, which is UFC Fight Night 92. Rodriguez, Alex Caceres. Look, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't got Fight Pass, well, tough shit, because you're just an idiot. Buy UFC Fight Pass. I've got it. Yeah. Mike's got it. We love it. We watch it too much. Well, I know I do. I don't know about Mike. Do you watch it anymore?
All the time. Yeah, to be honest, if you don't have Fight Pass, it's like, where have you been? Have you been stranded somewhere, or have you been in jail or something with no Wi-Fi? It's. Trainer.
So, ladies and gentlemen, go on. And that's it for this week. We'll be back at the start of the week where we'll look back at the results from the cards, these 2 cards, and we'll talk about them. So look forward to that. That's how we're breaking this down now.